if this was some sort of retaliatory attack on Muslims, if they do want to sow division, they want people of different faiths, Christians, I guess, frankly, versus Muslims carrying out these kind of attacks.
Really?
It's a step backwards. I mean, if whoever
step backwards to the 7th century, to the time of the Crusades,
or this is going to cause radical Muslims to stop their attacks and turn
radical.
Not.
That's just like saying radical schizophrenics, radical temporal epileptic, all that. See, again, and this is called Pun Piso. Father's Day, or Creator Day, June 18th, 2017. Another truck that rams. This time, Islam psychotics, getting out of a mosque. And see, this has been going on for since the 4th century, since the Christ psychotics took over the Roman Empire, thanks to Constantine, which is the Christus, the emperor of the whole Roman Empire, which was divine, who is a psychopath. It's just the same like Trump, same like Hitler, controlling everything. Same thing that Charlemagne, Christianity infected imbecile, they wanted to recreate the new empire, call it the Holy Roman Empire in the 7th century. It's the 8th century. You see, it's all due to religious schizophrenia, religious psychosis, the brain HIV of God belief, created in the brain. When the brain is sick, it can only create sick, irrational, bizarre, mythological beliefs. I for fever, imaginary friend or foe, irrational belief, acceptance at the core of all religions and neurological disorders caused by viruses or bacteria and disease in the brain. I mean, this is something so simple, and these stupid, ignorant, moronic scientists, neurologists, imbeciles, mentally healthy, in other words, atheists, do not see it. Religion is a mental illness, it's a psychosis, a very dangerous schizophrenic type disease. Make people crazy, affecting the brain, and the brain is the one that creates thinking and makes people do things. And if you have people that are crazy at the control of nations, at the control of anything, being a pilot or a ship captain or anything like that, or a doctor, they're not going to function correctly. They're going to screw everything up that they touch because they have a problem with their brain. Try to have a doctor that is always give him some LSD or affect the brain and have him operate on you. Have a dentist, give him fix his brain up before he actually work on your teeth and see what happens. Give a pilot flying a 747 before he gets into the cockpit and the co-pilot, and give him operate the little brain and put some stimulus in the brain and see what happens. See if he can think correctly. That's exactly the same thing that happens to any human being that has a problem with the brain. And religious beliefs are one of the schizophrenics, a very dangerous disorder, just like a virus on the brain that causes all kind of mental problems and mental diseases. There are thousands of neurological disorders, as many as they are discovered all the time. I mean, thousands of neurological disorders, but the religious belief in God is never included in them. It's never included as a disorder, never. So the people have mosques, synagogues, churches, temples, I mean, just name it, all over the fucking place, and they actually go to church and pray to the imaginary friends. And that's perfectly normal and perfectly healthy. Really? That is the problem. It's the disorder they don't see. And they're going to fight. The people that believe in God is like believing in Donald Duck, believing in Mickey Mouse, believing in Tinkerbell, and believing in all these things, and Batman. They all fight each other because theirs is a true imaginary friend. I for viva, imaginary friend of all irrational belief acceptance. Gee, you don't need a PhD, you don't need a doctorate degree in neurology or psychology to realize that 2 + 2 = 4. And the brain creates thinking. And when the brain is diseased, can only produce malfunctioning, can only create malfunctioning thoughts. Incredible. And this will continue to happen, like I've been saying ad nauseam in all my YouTube videos. Let's get real. Let's think logical. We are evolved mutated primates created by a spit of semen DNA from a penis. Simple as that. Product of 47 million years ago, born a virus in the genome, affecting a bunch of lemurs. That's my hypothesis, and a lot of scientists will actually begin to put the two together and realize that something occurred over 47 million years ago, a perfect storm in the brain of primates, of lemurs, that initiated the evolution of the brain, the primate brain, into, with the virus, born a virus in the genome and all that, initiated and triggered the evolution of the primate brain into a freak, ape, psycho, sadistic, masochistic, stupid, irrational ape that we are. We are nothing but evolved mutated primates. We are freaks of nature, people. Freaks of nature. And of course, when you have this abstract thinking, can give us imagination and really good things, but it has a bad effect too, because it's a virus that actually makes us crazy, sadistic, completely devious animals we are. We are incredibly, we are freaks of nature. We have 7 billion of us, destroying everything because they don't realize that belief in God is a very dangerous neurological disorder. It's a virus that infects all of us, and they don't see it. In the moment that you are aware of it, then we have salvation. We have salvation to ourselves as a species of freak primates. But as long as you know that you have a cancer and you have a HIV, you are HIV positive, you realize that you have the virus, then you can do something about it. But when people believe in God and all that don't realize that they're having a problem, they're acting and reasoning exactly the same thing like schizophrenics, or anybody with brain disorders, you won't get anywhere. You act upon your delusions. And then they elected you president, or you can give you a PhD, you can get a pilot's license, you can do all that stuff. And doctor, you're like an HIV positive person, but of the brain. They look sane, perfectly sane. All of a sudden you can blow up and do crazy stuff like this. So that's a problem, and it will continue to happen as long as a religion is not linked to the neurological disorder, the very dangerous cancer of the brain that it truly is, because it's a disease. Believing God is a disease. God is an imaginary friend. Prayers are telepathic communication with imaginary friends, and all religions have prayers. And that's what you do in any place of worship. You do prayers, which is a telepathic communication with imaginary friends, and that's a fact. And that happens to all schizophrenias and all religious psychosis. All these psychoses are new.
And religion, believing God, is an accepted form of this disorder. Look at this. It is a schizophrenia. It's an HIV of the brain. It's an accepted form of insanity that's going on for thousands of years. And neurologists don't see it as the mental illness and truly psychopathy. It is one of the schizophrenias.
The victims. And again, the latest information from the Met Police saying it's still early to say if the London collision is a terror incident.
Prayers are with the victims. What kind of a nonsense is that? Prayers are going to be, see what I mean? And the problem is that the churches and the mosques and the synagogues and all places of worship, they keep brainwashing, infecting the brain of people and making them believe all this bunch of stuff because their brains are weak. They don't teach them science and all that because the whole thing is infected, and the parents are infected with either Christianity, Islam, Judaism, or the rest of nonsense that have been going on for thousands of years. With this, it's like 2 + 2 = any number they in fact tell you it is, except for 4. And they do that in mosque. Why the heck are you going to go to a stupid thing and fall on your knees or on your fours and pray to your imaginary friends and reading this stupid, ridiculous text from 8th, 9th centuries ago? We just bunch of crap. Nothing is true. The same thing with all religions. All the Christians have the same crap with the Bibles, and all the Muslims have the same stupid thing with the 73 sects, with the crap like that, and they're teaching all this crap like that, and that's what causes racism, causes pedophilia, causes irrational thinking, making people crazy, like schizophrenics, thinking all this crap that makes them intolerant and imbeciles, anti-science pieces of garbage, of excreta, because that's what they are. They have the brain full of turds, brain full of crap. If the waste of the brain is the religion that comes out of their mouth in church, that's a waste. It's like let's say you have your anus and your sphincter in your mouth. That's what religions do. You have the sphincter in your mouth and all the excreta of your brain, you doing around. That's what you do when you do sermons. And you preach to people. You are shedding, you are putting all the excreta on the kids, filling all this foul smell and foul crap that is not true. And people believe it and accept it. They get screwed up and they get infected and sick because of all the teachings of this crap that is not true. One of these people it's very difficult. You cannot eliminate this religious psychosis. It's all over the place, all over the planet. Very difficult. You have million churches in the United States making people stupid and filtered and imbeciles. England had the same thing. You have the Queen that is the head of the Church of England. Another psychotic infected imbecile. All this crap. All the ministers, they brought up in Christian homes. They all been brought up in Islamic homes. Look at Saudi Arabia with all these Islam psychotic imbeciles back in the 8th century. Wearing all the veils and crap like that and all these rules that they have. They're psychotic. They're for stupid people. Irrational, schizophrenic, moral, and they control everything. They're kings, they're emirs, they're all that controlling the whole crap. Look at North Korea, the psycho over there in North Korea. Look at Iran, all controlled by priests. All the imams and all the mullahs and all that crap. And that's what you have in this world. And people don't see it. And it's very difficult. And this is the problem. The problem is that it's religious psychosis, the cancer of the brain that is causing all this stuff. And yes, it is terrorism. Learn what the word means. There are 8,000 languages spoken on the planet. And learn what a terror is, what the terror is. So that's terrorism. But this religious psychosis, terrorism, sadomasochism, and all that comes from there. Crazy thinking, crazy irrational thoughts. That's where it comes from. Incredible. We create thinking with the brain. We have to cogitate. We have to connect. We have to deduct, verify, and then the truth will slowly emerge. That's what you do. You reason. You use rational thought. You don't believe what everybody tells you. You do your own research. And then if it's logical, if it's not logical, it doesn't make any sense. You have to verify it and check it out. And you don't have logic or rational thought in any religion, or in any schizophrenia, or any mental disorder. There is no such thing as logic and rational thought in these diseases, and religion is one of them. It's an organized schizophrenia. It's a dangerous brain HIV, and this was happening. Incredible. Do yourself a favor. Take the time to read this and study this very slowly. Then you'll understand. Read a few times. We all have a brain. This is the organ we create thinking with. Keep that in mind. Tell that to yourself 100 times every day if necessary.